I think the broader markets are also cracking a little bit. Market breadth, advanced decline had already turned a while back. I think that would be a little deeper in the negative now. 54.40 declines to advances on the BSE 500. Sanjay Kapoor is chairman and promoter, MicroMax Informatics Limited. He's joining us right now. Mr. Kapoor, thanks very much for your time. Good morning. Prashant this side. What is your way of looking at the bidding that we've seen so far? The overall commitment to the government has crossed about 1 lakh odd crores, what we saw in 2010 with 3G auctions.
I think nobody's surprised with the outcome of these auctions. They were designed in a fashion that they had to really cost a lot to the bidders, and I think that's coming true. But I think going forward, what is important now is three things. First and foremost, what is the strategy that the operators will adopt on price increase to cover up the investments that they have committed themselves to? Second, are they going to be deploying a very expensive spectrum for GSM stroke TDM technologies, or are they going to be refarming this spectrum to do more of 3G, 4G, which is IP-based technologies? And the third, we see a lot of traction on both 1800 and 800 of late. So are we saying that we are going to bypass the 3G era in this country and straight away move to 4G going forward? That's something to be seen. So I think I'd be more concerned about these three things now than really talking about expensive auctions, because they were destined to be that way.
Bypassing 3G to 4G, is that a concern?
No, not at all. There are many countries who are, and many operators across the globe who are doing that. I mean, that's broader broadband for the consumers at large. So I think that's good, but we need to be ready for that regime with better backhaul, with better penetration and coverage indoors. If we can make that happen, that's okay. I think the other ecosystem around it, whether it's devices or content, will continue to evolve.
Okay, fair enough. I'll get to some of the specifics that you raised in a bit, but broadly, would the industry, in your assessment, need to raise tariffs to be able to pass this on to the consumers, or they're okay? I mean, I was looking at what market analysts were predicting companies would end up paying for spectrum before the auctions actually started, and you look at the final numbers, they are actually lesser than that. Now, these are still large numbers, 25,000 crores, 30,000 crores in some cases, but it's always relative. So I'm just asking you, would they need to pass the burden on to consumers, or they can take it?
First of all, the auctions are still on, and they have not ended as yet. So let's wait. The last word is not out as yet. And secondly, it is inevitable that the prices will go up, because there is no way that any operator can afford such a large investment being made to protect the same amount of revenues by and large, which can be absorbed by the company and not passed on to the consumer. I think the question is not that the prices will go up. I think the question is how much will they go up and how quickly will they go up.
If you look at history, and this is not the first auction, 2010, 12, 13, 14, if you look at the history of passing on the burden to consumers, because I guess of the competitive intensity, 7, 8 operators in a circle, right? Some of the highest numbers in the world. The pass-through isn't always possible and isn't sustainable, as we've seen earlier as well. Would you agree with that?
I think this auction is further leading to concentration of the industry in the hands of a few when it comes to a transformation from voice to data. There is hyper competition when it comes to voice, but I think this auction is further leading to consolidation of the industry, where there are just about 4 odd or 5 odd players who are really into data, and they've invested into data spectrum even in these auctions. Yes, you're right. Even 5 or 6 is too many in a telecom environment, because the world is used to 2 or 3 only. So yes, there will be challenges, but I think right now the challenge is also because the networks are completely commoditized. You know, the quality of the networks is really, really pathetic, right? And I think you will see that some of the operators will break this logjam, go back, invest into the quality of the network, create a differentiation, and then they'll be able to probably charge a premium compared to others, because data is something that will require a good consumer experience going forward. And even the devices can't deliver their best if the access networks and the consumer experience on the access is not good. So I think the whole ecosystem is very much dependent on a great access, and unless and until the access quality improves, then to go and charge premiums may not be possible. But if the quality improves, then I'm sure the ones with a better network will be able to get away with a higher charge from the consumers.
Okay, we're talking about customer experience, and at some point we'll get to that. Maybe we're already getting to that. But on this tariff issue, and we were talking about 6, 7 operators in a circle, the problem, would you agree, is the fact that smaller players have largely been unaffected by all these auctions, and they are critical if larger players, which have had to pay all this money to protect the existing revenue, are able to raise revenues.
Well, you know, the smaller operators are getting marginalized because they don't seem to be having a big play on the data. At the end of the day, data is not going to be provided, or data experience is not going to be provided to the consumers with 5 or 10 megs of spectrum. I think the world over, when you see at more data-centric nations, whether it's United States or it is Japan or it's Korea and even China now, the operators carry lot bigger chunks of spectrum with them to provide a great experience. And if some of the smaller operators are going to be standing on the borderlines, you know, on the peripheries, not really offering that consumer experience and just having maybe a Mickey Mouse data experience to the consumers, I don't think they're going to be participating in the story which is going to probably pan out over the next 5-7 years.
Yeah, sure. Auctions will sort of continue, right? I mean, at some point, some circles, some band, I mean, will keep happening. Are we, in terms of, you know, the question about how much new spectrum that needs to be sold and the how to price it, I mean, TRAI and the government, the DOT, the current dispensation have disagreed, right? TRA has tried to standards down, but of course DOT has had its way. What would you say? I mean, the industry, we hear noises on both these issues, quantum and price, but eventually the industry's got no choice. They end up buying all the spectrum at the high price because it's a business continuity issue, as we've seen in this particular auction. So the course is set, right? We basically will keep seeing more of the same over the next many years as well.
I think you're right here. There is no point debating this issue anymore. Ideally, given that telecom has a direct correlation with the GDP of a country, spectrum should be priced probably cheaper, because it leads to many other benefits around employment, around establishing businesses, these days doing businesses over internet and therefore taking businesses global. And there are many benefits that come across. So you look at a larger picture to recover the returns on a spectrum. But India has chosen a path, and I think we have a little bit of legacy because of the litigations that we've gone through and the controversies we've gone through. I think this is going to stay. Let's not debate about this. I don't see this changing in the near future. So let's adopt a model which is around what has been set now and see what can we do to make sure we are profitable and that we are able to give a great consumer experience. Because the fundamental still does not change. India, to be globally competitive, will have to be equally good on the digital infrastructure as it will be expected to be good on the physical infrastructure. So I think we have to make our way, no matter what the rules of the game are, and develop our own business models to make sure we are competitive globally. Otherwise, this is not about the industry, but it really renders India uncompetitive if we don't get it right.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. So you don't expect any dramatic change in the